Schedule management, adaptive approaches. When we say adaptive, the agile approaches, they use shorter cycles. So we don't use in agile a very long cycles. When we say shorter cycle, it could be 2 weeks sprint, 3 weeks sprint, or 4 weeks sprint. 4 weeks is just maximum 1 month. That's a short cycle considering a huge project. So in these short cycles, we undertake work, we review the results, and then we adapt as necessary. What happens here is that we get a rapid feedback. So that's about it. So we seek rapid feedback from short cycles to adapt as necessary. But what happens in the traditional mindset? The project schedule, once it is fixed, once it is approved, it is not encouraged to be modified quite easily. So similarly, in the agile mindset, sometimes even the predictive and adaptive approaches are used together. So just because you are adaptive, that doesn't mean you should not use any pre-planned activities. So it's a mix of predictive plus adaptive. But in case of traditional mindset, only the predictive approaches are chosen. So here the adaptation rarely happens. Similarly, in the agile mindset, we combine traditional techniques with agile methods. Almost same point that we have seen here, but focuses more on the techniques. So here the scheduling techniques, whatever we have done in the processes, they are strictly followed, without any addition of the tolerances and all. Right. So the trends are slowly shifting towards modifying those traditional techniques by adding more and more variables to it. So similarly, effective application of tools and techniques happen. Here, the tools and techniques, whatever rules or whatever results that we get, we simply have to adhere or accept those results. Moving on, cost management. Projects with very high degree of uncertainty. What we have talked, the projects which has high variability, or the projects for which the scope is not fully defined, or maybe the benefits or the requirements are not very clearly understood. In this case, agile mindset works perfectly. So as I keep on repeating from the previous knowledge areas as well, acknowledging a large scale planning, it's quite not practical. That is how an agile practitioner thinks about. But in the traditional way of thinking, the cost must be planned in advance for all the projects. So in agile mindset, again, very lightweight estimation methods. When I say lightweight, only for 2 weeks or 3 week sprints, they are used, and then they generate very accurate and realistic forecasts, and they give very fast results as well. But here, only the traditional estimation methods are used. So here, for the overall project, there is a very vague type of cost estimation, but for the sprint cycle, this vagueness will be converted to detailed estimation, because we only have 2 weeks to plan. The whatever plan we have done for these 2 weeks, it's going to be quite accurate, right? So there will be no, the cost overruns are very minimal in case of agile mindset because of this work breaking down. So here the detailed estimates are done for each and every component in the very beginning of the project. So it's quite unpredictable. What happens tomorrow, we never know, right? So there might be suddenly some power outage and one of the machines stopped working suddenly. The repair costs gets added, and this we have never considered for the project costs, for example. So this traditional mindset plans for the complete product life cycle in advance, but the agile mindset tries to break this mindset. Similarly, there is a need of a lot of reserves here, because what we have seen here, we have planned for the complete overall project in the beginning, and when the project costs reach somewhere there, the actual costs go somewhere like this. So there is this gap of planned and actual. To bridge this planned and actual gap, we need that reserve costs, right? That reserve budget is needed usually in the traditional mindset. And in agile mindset, what happens is that constrain the cost and modify the scope if necessary. In agile mindset, the same curve, whatever we have discussed, it is closer to the reality, because every now and then the planning keeps on changing in the direction of the actual costs. So we have not given that curve completely like this, or if I choose another color, instead of this traditional way of working, we will only plan the costs for 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks. So the curve of the actual and the planned cost, that follows almost the same path. Okay, moving on, quality management. So in order to navigate the changes, agile methods, they call for frequent quality reviews, frequent quality checks throughout the project. They don't do the quality checks at the end of the project, right? So that's about this. So the frequently using quality checking methods throughout the project rather than at the end of the project. But here in the traditional mindset, these quality checks are done at a very set points, at usually at the project life cycle gates, or the validation plan. It is all predefined. We will be doing the quality checks only at those set points. So here nothing is wrong, nothing is right. Again, this is just a way of working. So similarly, in the traditional mindset, we improve. When we say improve, the improvement is a change. So that only happens when there is an unavoidable problem. But in the agile mindset, we call for changes. Where do we call for changes? In the retrospection meetings every 2 weeks, or in the middle of every sprint, there is this retrospective meeting where we assemble the people to give, or asking for the changes. Please tell us what we have to change. So you can see the difference in the mindset here. Similarly, in the traditional mindset, we try to achieve consistency, by statistical process controlling, right? So we do the process for a really long duration, and then we try to predict how my process is going to be for the next years to come. But here, the quality issues and the inconsistencies, they come out when the team works in small batches of work. When we work for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the shorter durations, the quality issues for that particular time period are going to come up, and those inconsistencies will be solved there and then itself. Similarly, in the traditional mindset, the Kaizen is imagined or envisioned to happen in a progressive working style. But here, the same Kaizen is achieved in an incremental working style. Every sprint is a progress, right? So every second sprint is a addition of work to the previous sprint. Moving on, resource. So in case of resource, what we do is the projects with high variability benefit. The projects which are highly volatile, they benefit from this agile mindset. I think I already told you this before. But in the traditional kind of mindset, what happens is that task priority for the resources, they are set similar to both stable and highly variable projects. Even if it's a high variable project, same plan. Even if it's a very stable project, it is going to be the same traditional plan. Here in the agile mindset, they promote collaborative approach. That means people come forward, give collective ideation for all their respective activities, and then the solution is formed. But here, the all the activities of the individual people, they are actually integrated by the heads of the department or the functional managers. Agile mindset totally focuses on decentralizing the task and promote the decision making within the working team itself. Whereas in the traditional market, these deliverables, they are listed and provided at only the set stages of the project. So similarly, for the agile mindset, the agreements for the fast supply and the lean methods, they are very critical to the controlling of the resources. But in the traditional mindset, the modifications, they are totally not encouraged. The traditional mindset is totally against any small change.